I began my journey as a running coach through the decades. So I noticed that my wife, she has a pretty large work capacity, and I don't know what happened, but I started making fun of her about she should, try running and do a marathon, and eventually
I hate running.
she kept saying I hate running. So eventually, I don't know what happened, but I know what it was. I trained her to do the Austin half marathon. Her first half marathon, I think she killed it. She ran like a 140 something. And I kind of looked at her times and said, you know what? If you keep this training up, you may just be able to qualify for Boston. The week before her first marathon, which was in El Paso, Texas, she got really sick. And so one day at the dinner table, it's like a Monday, the race is on Saturday, she's really sick, she's beat down, she's tired. I just kind of told her, I said, you know what? I said, you're not going to qualify. You're sick, you're 16.
Hasn't been.
Yeah, you're 16, 20 weeks training, is coming to a close, and you're not going to qualify. And I would just quit and throw in the towel. Don't even show up for the race. Are you catching this? She's laughing out loud. So we kind of left it at that. And then we fly to El Paso for the race. You want to chime in?
No, you tell a good story.
So we get to the race, and she's still under the weather, by the way. I remember walking to the race start, telling her, just relax, just do the best you can. It's okay that you're not going to qualify. Just have a great race. So at the finish line, you could see a half mile down the road. You can literally see a half mile where all the runners turn to come do the last half mile at the finish line. And El Paso at the time, 3, 4, 5 years ago, didn't have on the spot timing, so I didn't really know where she was at on the course. All I knew is she had to be done by 3:55, 3:50,
3:55, I think.
Right. So, and she's wearing a bright green shirt. So, yeah, that shirt.
That same shirt.
Yeah, it's crooked a little bit. So yeah, lower the bottom end. So I knew that she had to be, around the corner at a certain time in order to beat the 3:55. So as me and some other athletes were there, 'cause we were with a big group of people. Mm-hmm. While we were waiting for her to finish, it was getting close. I kept telling myself, if she doesn't come around the corner, it'll be tight. And lo and behold, it's like, it's like a ship in the distance, right? It's like a light in the distance. She came around the corner, and you can see the bright green shirt, right? And she came around the corner, and it was me. I think it was it Martha Munch?
Martha.
Me.
No, Bruce wasn't in
Me,
yet.
Martha Munch. I think Mike Caraballo. Mike Caraballo. Somebody else was with us. And she came around the corner with like 4 minutes to spare. I'm like, oh my God. So as she's getting closer, I could see her face. She was in a lot of pain and discomfort. I think were you crying?
Not till it was over.
So she's coming down, and I remember talking to Mike or someone saying she's not doing well, but she was less than a half a mile from the finish. So as she caught up to us, we could see her grimacing. We could see her face, but she was moving. And I ran with you on the side, and I ran to the finish line. And it was a really small marathon, so I could actually walk to the finish line. I was actually right at the finish line, because it wasn't very big. And you crossed the finish line, and you made your time. You had like 2 minutes to spare, right?
Yeah.
She made her time, and she crossed, and you started crying.
Yeah. And I just fell on you. And I was like, oh. And he's like, just calm down, catch your breath, stop. Okay, you're okay.
You know what I did? And then she turned around, and she just sat down on the ground. You just turned around, you sat on the ground, and I took a picture of you sitting on the ground, and then you qualified for Boston. I think also what's pretty cool to know about when my wife ran the Boston Marathon in 2014, it was a year after the tragic bombing at the finish line of Boston. So,
and that was the highest or the biggest field of runners that they've ever allowed, because they allowed all the people that didn't get to finish the previous year to finish.
Yeah.
And then they allowed family members of the people that were killed to run in memory. So it was the biggest field of runners for the Boston Marathon ever.
Pretty special, huh?
It was. It was so emotional. I remember being on the bus next to a girl who, her sister was killed. And she was yelling out the bus as they're driving us to the start line. I let her family standing there, and she's crying, and she's telling them, I love you, and they had banners. It was pretty cool.